Hi and welcome. This is Vince of vinceprep.com. A Harvard interview causes a lot of anxiety, HBS interviews, but they really don't need to. They are conversations. As D. Leopold says on her blog, the way to prepare for the Harvard interview is to go outside and take a walk. I agree with her, actually. That's the way we used to prepare. That was what my acting teacher taught me years ago at Stanford about how to prepare for a performance. And in some ways, an interview is a performance. The difference between a performance and an interview with Harvard is that the Harvard interview is conversational. So what I want to encourage you to do is, first of all, write down, remember every conversation you've had that's gone well. Could be an interview, a job interview, any kind of interview, or even just an important conversation that you've had about a salary increase or about a project that mattered to you. Remember all the conversations you've had that have turned out well, where you've gotten what you wanted, right? In this case, admission offer from Harvard. There's two ways to prepare for this interview. You can take the outside-in approach, or you can take the inside-out approach. Either one could work for you. If to give me confidence, I would take the inside-out approach. Let me tell you what I mean. These are just words, so let me explain them. Outside in is gather up all the questions you can find on the web, or you buy a guide from whoever, right? And you read all these questions, and you script out your answers, and it's kind of a risk management approach, right? There's no question she could possibly ask for which I don't have an answer. Well, you can't win that game. You don't know what she'll ask you, really. No one does. She doesn't even know, right? I'm saying she, your interviewer. They come in with kind of an agenda, and then they just have a conversation. They just want to see where the conversation goes. It's like the case method, right? So the outside-in approach is very, very expensive and time-consuming, and it might not work. If it gives you confidence to do a little bit of that, great, do it. I'm not going to say don't. Do whatever gives you confidence, but what I would suggest is maybe on top of that outside-in approach, at some point, go inside and remember all the stories that you have that you want to share with her. Make a list, or better yet, because it won't allow you to type a long essay, make cards, right? Make story cards, I bought these for $1 somewhere, different color cards, or even if you want to be cheap and cut them in half, you write the question on one side and you write some stories on the back that could answer that question, or the other way around. One story on one side and 3 or 4 questions that could be the prompt for that story. That's one way to do this. If you have these story cards, you can work them through, and what you become comfortable with is yourself. Tell me about your college. Why did you choose this major? Why did you choose that major? Why did you do this? A lot of their questions are common sense, and what common sense means is basically why and how. So as you're going through these story cards yourself at home, ask yourself why and how. Look for the places where someone who's inquisitive could naturally, out of curiosity, no, they don't do it out of meanness, they're just curious. Why? How? Why? How? That's what they're asking. That's what the follow-ups. It's not like one of these, well, anyway, it's a different kind of an interview. If you're really prepared for it, it can be a lot of fun. If you're unprepared for it, if you go in for it, yes, take a walk around the neighborhood or in the park or in the forest, as Dee suggests. But in between those walks, right, I think walks are great to internalize or let all that information and prep sort of calm down inside of you. I'm a huge fan of walking, believe me. But I think in between all those walks, I would again suggest making some cards and going through your stories. One last tip for now, and I'll sign off on this video. When you make a story card, and when you outline your story or bullet point your story, and let's say you use a typical structure like STAR, right? STAR, situation, task, action, result. Be comfortable with each aspect of that story and be able to start the story from anywhere. Start with the result, for example. The other thing to do, and this is why I love cards, is you need to keep the situation as brief as possible. Situation could take 5 minutes. You don't want it to take 5 minutes. You want to frame the situation as clearly and concisely as possible. I faced the conflict between A and B. My task was to convince people to choose A, or convince people to choose B, or my task was to come up with a solution, C, that combined A and B, or AB, sorry, I'm not, it's been a while since I did algebra. Situation, task, action, results is my point. The last thing is, don't forget when you're telling stories, not just emphasizing what you did. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. She doesn't want long monologues. She doesn't want to listen to your 3-minute speech. Because again, in the classroom, they don't either, right? You have to be thinking and talking at the same time. You can get sucked into the situation, giving way too much background information. I do that all the time, as my wife tells me. Okay, what's the point, right? Too much situation and too much action. I did this and I did that, and it's boring, okay? I'm a guy, as guys particularly, we do way too much of that. I think women are a lot better at this, talking about the context and other people, right? Men are very much action-oriented, and I don't mean to make stereotypes, but I'm busting on myself here. So don't just, I did, and then we made $1 million. Break it down and talk about what you felt and what you thought. Thought, felt, said, and did. Those are the magic verbs here. Thought, felt, said, and did. Emphasize thought and emphasize felt. And even said a little bit. Don't just be did, and then big success, hurrah. They like you. You are invited to interview. Remember that. They like you. They don't waste time. These interviews are expensive. I respect Harvard Business School. They're investing, you're getting your money's worth with Harvard. If you get invited to the interview, you're getting your $250 worth, I think. They're flying around the world, or they're inviting you to campus, they're feeding you, whatever, right? They're trying hard, and I respect that. So they like you. They don't do this easily. This is not cheap for them. This is not just some, interview with our alumni. This is where, every time I talk to Stanford people, I ask this, and they always give the same answer. Anyway, I'm not going to bust on Stanford. I love Stanford. It's my school. But come on, guys, step up. I think Harvard sets the standard for interviews, and I think what they're doing is awesome. All that aside, they like you. They're not just doing this because they're bored. Or they're not just doing this to make the alumni feel special. They're invested in you. Play defense, don't play offense. Don't don't be like my son, I'm teaching him how to hit a ball. I'm doing that. I'm not doing very well. He's like, it's like he closes his eyes and tries to give that picture perfect swing, and he either misses the ball or it flies off into space. Don't try so hard. Just get a single. Just get on base. Play defense. They like you. Just play ping. The metaphor here is not the home run batter at the plate. It's like ping pong. You're just hitting the ball back and forth with a smile on your face. Sometimes the ball comes hard. Sometimes the ball comes slow. I'm not good at ping pong either. But you get my point. You're just playing a friendly game of ping pong with the Harvard Business School admissions office. I've gone over time. I want to thank you for your time and attention. I hope this has been useful. Make little story cards, or really do whatever works for you to have confidence. Remember the conversations you've had that have gone well in the past, and do that method. Don't do something crazy or unnatural. Do what works for you. All right, enough of that. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you would like to be the first to know when I've uploaded more videos. I do these whenever I can. I do enjoy this process. I do thank you for your time and attention, and I wish you the very best.